Hi everyone, your Auntie Lexi is here, and today I want to share something personal that's been weighing on my heart. Before we dive in, if you love thoughtful conversations about games, their history, and what they mean to us, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It helps so much, and I'd love for you to be a part of this community. I used to be a massive physical game collector. We're talking PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, collector's editions, steelbooks, and just so much more. I even had Rule of Rose, the first Manakemia, Lunar Silver Star Story Complete, Lunar Eternal Blue Complete, Arcalad Collection, you name it, I have it. But recently I lost 99% of that collection. These are what's left of my collection. And honestly, while I've made peace with losing all of that stuff, and believe me when I say that my wallet is still wincing thinking about all of that stuff, what really hurts is how this loss feels like a preview of where gaming is heading. Because at this point, it's not just my physical collection disappearing, it's the future of physical games in general. For many of us, physical games aren't just boxes or discs. They're memories. They're pieces of history. They are how we make sure these games exist when companies decide to shut things down. And let's be real, if you want an example of that, just look at Nintendo's track record. The Wii Shop? Gone. I can no longer play My Life as a King or My Life as a Villain. You can't buy anything there anymore, and in fact, you can't even re-download anything that you purchased there, including the games that I just mentioned. The DSi shop? Same thing. No new purchases, no downloads. Gone. And the 3DS and the Wii U shops? You can't obviously buy anything new anymore, but online play and downloading your DLCs? That's just gone too. And in fact, if I remember correctly, in Europe only, the DLC for Devil Survivor is required to actually play the game because there's a progression break in it that requires that patch, because it's technically a patch. Meanwhile, Sony and Microsoft, you can literally access your digital games even on older platforms, and they will still be available. I think the only one that's not available for Microsoft is the OG Xbox one, and I think there's like maybe 7 DLCs there, but it's 7 DLCs that at this point in 2025, nobody even talks about anymore. But the whole talk about physical games isn't just for collectors or preservationists. And maybe this is something that people who live in well-to-do countries with fast, unlimited internet just don't even think about. But there's another side to this, which is accessibility. Not everyone has reliable, high-speed internet. Some people deal with data caps. Others have expensive metered connections or internet that's just plain spotty. Now let's think about this for a second. Here in the US, we might complain about how much this 100 gigabyte game takes up our hard drives, but really, when it comes to the downloading, most of us can just grab it on an unlimited plan without worrying about extra charges. Now, picture buying the same $60 game in a place where internet is capped or metered. Say rural Australia, South Africa, or Brazil, which is a market that both Microsoft and Sony were trying to get into during the PS4, Xbox One era. And now think about how you're getting hit for $30 of data fees because of your download. That $60 game, it's now a $90 game. And that's even before you think about patches, DLC updates, or reinstalling this later. For players in those places, physical games aren't just a nice to have. They're how you avoid those hidden repeat costs that can pile up fast. And now with the Switch 2, we're seeing these game key cartridges. They look like physical games, but there's not actually a game on them. The cartridge just lets your system download the game from the internet. You'll still need that cartridge to play, so yeah, you can trade it or resell it, but you're still stuck basically relying on a download. And worse, you're still stuck relying on Nintendo to keep their servers online. I don't normally like talking about companies in these terms, but I see this as being short-sighted to the larger point of physical copies. Physical copies need to exist because once they fully tap out the big markets like the US and Europe, which it will happen, they'll have to look elsewhere. And when they find out that they're not making money because they've gone all fully digital and players in these regions are just reluctant to pay extra and therefore unwilling to buy and fully embrace digital games online, whoops, that's when they'll realize that they could have made more money just by going physical in these regions. But that realization is slow, particularly because corporations are like cruise ships. Trying to steer it somewhere else quickly takes a lot of preparation and time. And look, I know all of this kind of sounds grim. But here's the thing, there are people and companies out there who do care, who are working hard to make sure that gaming's history, art, and experiences don't just disappear. For example, I didn't know about this until very recently, but Sony has built something they call the PlayStation Studios Vault. It's a massive preservation effort where they've archived hundreds of millions of files. Development builds, design documents, concept art, code, even stuff from as far back as 1994, like a prototype of Ark the Lad. They're not just saving games, they're saving the creative process so that it's not lost to time. And then there's Lost in Cult. What they're doing is honestly so inspiring. They're producing these stunning physical editions of indie games like Immortality and Hobbs Barrow. These editions aren't just discs or cartridges, but works of art. They come packed with essays, developer commentary, beautiful prints, all thoughtfully designed to celebrate and preserve these games. And the best part? These editions don't need day one patches because it'll come with everything on the disc, on the cartridge. These editions don't come with giant one-day patches or a constant internet connection to work. They're just built to last, to be kept, to be shared. And beyond that, we have entities like the Video Game History Foundation, who are working to not just preserve the games, but also the culture, the magazines, the ads, the prototypes, the stories that what makes gaming what it is. Even universities are stepping up, creating archives to protect everything from hardware and code to fan communities. So, yeah, it's right to be concerned about GameKey cartridges and disappearing storefronts. But then I also see all of this incredible work happening. People making sure that even as things change, the heart of gaming, those memories, those moments that we hold on to, don't get lost. And it does make me curious. What is your most prized and treasured possession in gaming history? The one thing that you'll never part with, or that still makes you smile whenever you see it? Post your thoughts in the comments below and let's talk about it. And if you want to help support thoughtful content like this one, consider checking out my Patreon at patreon.com/backlogbattle. There aren't a lot of trans folks doing what I'm doing in the gaming space, and your support helps me keep sharing these stories, these conversations, and building a community where everyone feels welcome. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.